want to ask you something. How many times during this COVID pandemic, and especially recently, in the last few weeks, have you, found yourself rising in the morning, you wake up, you look at the ceiling, and you have that moment where you realize this is not a dream. This is still happening. And, that idea of waking up on the wrong side of the bed, you're immediately aggravated that this whole stupid thing is going on. Well, I probably wake up like that more often than not. And I usually roll over and I grab my iPhone and I look to see, what's happening in the day. Well, and then, you sort of look through videos. And the other day I was like scrolling through, just getting more and more annoyed at how ridiculous this whole thing is, when I came across a video where someone actually said and stated it exactly like I felt in that moment. It was so fantastic that it actually changed my day, and I felt like I'd gotten it off my chest. Here is that video. See if you have the same response.
After waiting for 2 hours and now getting 2 minutes, I'll get right to the point. This board is pretending that for the last 3 months, your emperor, Dr. Levin, has not been against a mask declaration. Now, all of a sudden, we're pretending that masks are everything, even forcing speakers to use masks. I would like the board to take a position. Was Dr. Levin wrong for those 3 months? And if he was this wrong, why has he not been removed? Why has he not been fired for being so catastrophically wrong? Or do you not really believe he was wrong? You're just wearing these masks because it is a signal of your great virtue. Because for the last 3 months, we have not worn them. And Ventura County has done outstandingly well and continues to do outstandingly well because we are not Los Angeles. We are not New York City. We never were going to be any of those things. Ironically, this is one of the few things Dr. Levin was actually right about. He has been wrong about everything. He is the one who told us we would have 400 to 600 hospitalizations a day. He revised that to 200 to 400 a day. We still haven't reached that in 1 day. We're barely over 200 for the entire ordeal that you guys have put us through. We now have panicked over 51 total hospitalizations in a county with 8 hospitals. Can you people do math? Can you please do basic math and understand where we are on this? This is not a crisis. You, however, have created one. You, in an effort to try to prevent all death, when we've had 43 deaths, have now ended all relevant life. And you should all be ashamed of yourselves. And this will never be forgotten, ever be forgotten. You will all be held accountable eventually, in this life or the next. You all better hope there is no hell, because when you die, that's where you're going. And guess what? You're not going to be dying of COVID either.
My name is Del Bigtree, and I approve that message. Tell me that wasn't everything you wish you could say to a city council anywhere in the United States of America. Clearly, that was happening in Ventura County, where we've already watched. That was the place where I put up a video on Twitter that was discussing that the health department there wanted to be able to take you and relocate you if you didn't have enough toilets in your house and somebody was testing positive. I said, what if that somebody is your child? Well, it is my honor and pleasure to bring a radio show host that I listened to for many, many years, director, activist, obviously journalist, John Siegler. Thank you, first of all, for that incredible presentation. What got into you, man?
Well, first of all, thanks for making my day. I had no idea it had such an impact on people. This was never intended as some sort of viral video which it clearly has become, not just in California and throughout the country, but throughout the world. I've gotten many, many messages throughout the world from people who really were touched by this. Here's what basically happened. I've never been to a Board of Supervisors meeting before. I've been pissed off by what's been going on for many months, specifically about Dr. Levin. And thank you for pointing out his contact investigator blunder, which he then blamed on us, the citizens, for misunderstanding. When he said that people could be taken from their home if the county decided that they weren't quarantining properly. But this guy is a very dangerous dude, and I wanted to express my opinions about him to the board. Well, I thought I was going to have 3 minutes. And I waited around for over 2 hours. And then all of a sudden, at the very last second, we were cut down to 2 minutes. And so I had to disregard my written prepared comments. And so I just let it rip. And you obviously saw the results. And it really hit a nerve, I think, because it was really unplanned.
Yeah.
It was pure, although I hope it was tethered to rationality, which obviously was intended to be, and it was.
So how much of that speech was lifted from? I mean, did you just throw it away? Was that just came off the cuff? Because it was so perfect. And I do think that's what resonates, is that you're speaking truth. Clearly the science isn't there. None of this stuff adds up. We didn't have masks 3 months ago. I mean, all of, everything. It's almost like they just keep tightening the screws to see when we're going to finally pop. I mean, it's not based in science. You look at the science. I mean, you can compare. We've been doing it. We've been looking at masks. I can compare your crappy studies to less crappy studies. But the truth is nobody has ever studied masks on citizens walking down the street. And yet, and why are we doing it? Especially, as you point out, Ventura has no real issue right now as we speak. But, how much of your speech did you feel like just came naturally there?
Well, it was built up of 3 months of frustration, and it just came pouring out, almost literally. But as far as masks are concerned, I'm a libertarian, and my great concern here, I have many great concerns. Well, I don't know if masks are productive or not. I know that the experts told us 3 months ago, including Dr. Levin and Dr. Fauci, that they were not necessary. In fact, they would even be counterproductive. It seems like an amazing coincidence that position changed when it became a sim virtue on the left, that this became a political. Now, if you want to wear, that's fine. Even as a government advise people to wear masks, I'm fine with that too. But you don't mandate. You don't make it a situation where the government is telling you you have to do this or you will be punished. A situation, and I'm a logical guy. I'm always precedent. And okay, what's the end date on this? When will by this logic, we should be wearing masks all the time, forever, because there's always going to be some theoretical virus that could be curtailed, and one life somewhere might theoretically be saved, or at least temporarily, if we were all wearing masks. I don't necessarily believe that, but that would be the theory. So when does that theory end? This thing's not going to go away anytime soon, and we're always going to be dealing with flu bugs and whatever. So the precedent element of this, to me, is the most scary part. And I don't know about you, Del, but I have been really horrified and depressed by the lack of pushback by the public on this. The public has been willing to go along with this. I thought there would be a revolt by a majority, and in fact, I was totally wrong. It is clear that the majority has won here. The mask people have won because the anti-mask people, while there are a lot of passionate people on that side, have been cowed, they've been co-opted, they've been wussified, they've been intimidated by the media, and even Donald Trump yesterday basically came out in favor of masks, which I think is just extraordinary and shows just media propaganda has been on the decision.
Well, and that's what I sort of want to talk to you about, just because you come from, I mean, you've been in media, you've been in radio, you've been talking to the people, but, and I worked on the CBS talk show, The Doctors, for years and years. I worked for CBS. When we look at why are people going along with it, I mean, our media, to me, the biggest problem we have is not Fauci, who I think is a liar. I mean, he has an amazing talent to just absolutely say everything that could happen from the best, worst-case scenarios and not stand by any of it and sort of move his way in a Teflon way from anything actually sticking to him. But it's the media that keeps pushing these agendas on us, right? It is clear that they're not based in science. They don't have a dialogue. They don't have a debate. They don't bring any of the multitude of scientists from around the world that are saying that these draconian measures are doing more harm, killing more people than this disease ever would have. So, coming from media now, and just between you and I, what do we do about this? I can't get CNN, MSNBC, Fox to actually report the science here. You and I can go online. We know where to look. You know what good science looks like. What do we do when we actually just have this propaganda machine with people locked in their houses that is just droning on and on with this mantra that we're all going to die from what appears to be a common cold that, let me not discount the 0.26% that have a very acute reaction, but it's pretty close to those people that usually have an acute reaction to any illness, those that are dying of cancer, dying of heart disease, dying of COPD. What are we going to do about the media?
Well, I wish I had a great answer. Let me explain how we got here real quick. I have never seen a story, and I've been involved in many controversial stories where this has been a phenomenon, but I've never seen one where so overtly is only allowing one side of the story. I mean, literally, it's only allowed one side of the story. Those who've tried to tell the other side have been effectively censored, especially on Facebook. Facebook has been a complete joke during this entire process, this ordeal. Twitter has been a little bit better, but not that much. And, you know, even the right-wing media, while it's starting to get its feet on this, I think was very confused at the start, partially, again, because of Donald Trump. They take their cues from Trump. And Trump has been all over the map, and he basically, you know, gave his balls over to Dr. Fauci. And I think that caused the right-wing media to be very cautious here, probably too cautious. Tucker Carlson has done some good work recently, now that he's finally realized what's going on here, and he's basically flipped on the whole virus response. But the problem here is that once the media becomes invested in a narrative, I mean, they are deeply invested in this. Remember, we have destroyed our way of life. We have destroyed our economy. We are a new country now than we were 3 months ago, and will be probably for the rest of my life. So the stakes here are incredibly high. So they need to be right about the damage they caused. They cannot wrong. And if there's anything the media narrative, they are invested in a narrative where they have to be right. Otherwise, they look like Jess's. No shot. You have no shot because they control narrative in at least 80 to 90% of media under these circumstances, and they are not going to let us go. And this is why we already have seen other narratives like, well, it's not just deaths. You can't just look at deaths. You have to look at the other impact of this. And by the way, remember that whole Kawasaki syndrome thing?
Right, where'd that go?
Kids were going to be dying. Wait, where did that go? What happened to that? Dr. Fauci even referenced that. I believe in a congressional testimony, and as if that was real, and now it's poof, it's gone, disappeared, because they desperately want something. If it's not the deaths aren't going to be enough, or we're undercounting deaths. Oh my gosh, that one, the undercounting of deaths, which I have looked at in great detail and see no evidence or logic of that. But if we're undercounting deaths, who are the doctors, the thousands of doctors and patients, family members that are going along with this conspiracy to not count COVID deaths? I mean, that seems insane on its face, and the numbers don't back that up either. And I think we're going to find that out, but we're not going to find that out for months because it takes a long time for the excess death stats to all get compiled. So you know, I don't have an easy answer, but people need to understand why it's happening. And you know, and I guess the only thing I can say is support Tucker Carlson, because he's about the closest thing to a mainstream reporter right now who seems to get it.
What is your, you know, when you look at this, obviously this is going to go on in, you know, our lifetimes, whether we'll see an end to it, but history tends to usually get to the truth. Do you think history will see this? How do you think history will report on this moment in time when we look back maybe 50 years or 100 years from now?
I used to think history finds the truth. I no longer believe we live in that society, because the people who are controlling what the truth is are going to be just as invested. I mean, these are going to be the academic world, the science world. They are going to be invested in the idea that they didn't blow this, that they didn't destroy Western civilization over something that really wasn't a catastrophic situation. And so I no longer, and I've dealt with other stories that have similar components where people keep thinking the truth is going to win, the truth is going to win. And once the truth is found, it doesn't have any impact anymore. An unpopular truth can no longer win against a popular lie when the people who are controlling the narrative are invested in the lie. It can't work. It can't work in the modern social media. Popularity is the new coin of the realm. truth is not the coin of the realm. Truth has almost no value anymore unless it is popular to the people who are in control. And so I don't share your optimism. I think the facts will be out there, but whether or not they will be widely accepted, I am not as optimistic.
John Siegler, beacon of light and hope. I really want to thank you. And obviously, I know when you're saying that, something got you up to go and speak in front of the city council there and make your point known. I know that we all have those moments, and you truly did represent the frustration that we have. I hope you will continue to fight, and I know that deep down you obviously believe in your own humanity and your ability to make a difference. I think you have made a difference with that incredible speech. You know, we'll see. You know, some of us will see, my children may see how history reports on this, but at least if people like you and those that recognize it stand up and speak the truth, that's the only chance we have to make sure that we win this dialogue. Because I believe, you know, fortunately in this moment, there are so many scientists and real academics around the world that are calling this situation out. So because of them and because we have a voice, I think we've got to do whatever we can. Clearly, you did that during your speech, and I want to thank you for taking the time and sharing your passion with us today.
Thanks, Del. I appreciate the time to speak to your audience, and I can assure you I will not stop fighting. I'm not optimistic about the end result, but I'm a fighter, and I will continue to be in the arena.
That's all we need, John. I'll see you out there. Take care.
Take care.